After his return from Italy, Attila remained in his capital only about a month because the death of the Tabgach emperor aroused the activation of the Jugeans, which obliges the Hun emperor to organize a great raid of his cavalry to east. He is also interested in the war of the southern Huns against the Persians. This hike is also be the giant turn of honor that replaces for the Huns the triumphs of the Romans after the great victories. Attila proposes to Orestes also to carry out with his army a tour of honor and inspection in the northern territories of his empire, whose peoples and tribes have not yet seen the defiles of the great armies. Attila's army contains the Slavic and Finno-Ugrian detachments, partly composed of the ancient Roman slaves speaking Latin or Greek, liberated during the campaigns in the Balkans and in Italy. Vasily, commander of the Slav detachments, is delighted. The Slavs are peaceful inhabitants of the forests. My grandparents were taken into captivity by the Goths and sold to a Roman of Margam. I was born on the bank of the Danube, but my mother taught us our beautiful language and our songs. I am happy to finally visit the land of my ancestors. The army of Orestes passes quickly, without stopovers, by the border between the steppes and the forests to the western slope of the Ural Mountains. Then it turns back and passes through the snowy forests and the frozen rivers towards the Baltic Sea. Whenever Orestes sees a birch, stuck here and there with gigantic pines, he remembers the trees that Julia plants in their yard because during the years of the war with the Eastern Empire she made plant pines instead of the birches which it had planted during the years of peace. Orestes sees the extreme poverty of the Slav population living in primitive huts. The chiefs of the tribes, surrounded by a few warriors summarily armed, aroused the smile of Orestes, who listened proudly to their oaths of fidelity to the northern emperor. Slavic soldiers are welcomed as heroes, some find their friends and relatives. One then hear exclamations of joy. Then the mead flows afloat, one sing and dance. At the request of certain tribes, Orestes replaces their chiefs by his Slavic soldiers. On the shores of the Baltic Sea, Orestes visits the Finnish tribes and then passes to eastern Germany. On the shores of the Vistula he again found the Slavs, who began to populate the territories left by the Germanic tribes that had gone to the west. The abandoned Germanic houses seem to these arrivals as palaces, and the tools left to them represent an inestimable treasure. Many young Slavs want to join the army, but Orestes rarely accepts them. Only at the request of Vasily and the other Slavonic officers. He thinks that the Slavs must remain peaceful because there are too many soldiers, attracted by the glory of Attila, which has created serious problems of supply in Gaul and Italy. At the beginning of the year 453, Orestes returns to the capital of the Huns, satisfied with his inspection, reassured of the power of the central government of the Northern Empire among peripheral peoples without state traditions. Attila went as far as Bactria, the northern part of present-day Afghanistan. Somewhere, in Central Asia, he meets a pretty girl who looks strangely like the young Kere-ko but with an abundant blonde hair falling to the kidneys. She could be a descendant of the ancient Sakas. Attila gives him a Hun name Ildi-ko and brings it back to his capital. She is extraordinarily beautiful with perfectly regular features, perhaps a little small but resembling, according to the Greeks, Venus herself. Attila forgets her great Roman fiancée, the Princess Honoria. Indeed, he never met Honoria and thought of her all the time. Understanding that their marriage would serve to realize his great dream, he had a sincere pity for the princess, and counted on a happy harmony of their relations. But Honoria probably died. Attila loves Ildi-ko perhaps even stronger than he loved Kere-ko. He announces that she will be her empress and decides to organize a grandiose marriage.